Hi everyone, this is Alexander Tegoff, and this is going to be our first MLS training video. This particular video is going to be covering MLS Fusion. So the first thing you want to make sure is that you are logged into MLS Fusion. The link is above. It's the same password and login as your old MLS. If you guys are still using the old one, it's about time you switch over to this system, as it does have a lot of benefits. First thing I'm going to go over in this video is going to be contact management as well as customization of this particular page. So first thing you're going to want to do when you log in is click this customize this page button. You're going to have a list of 11 different options that come up, including prospecting, summary, inventory watch, contacts, recent website, etc., etc., etc. Typically, you're going to want most of this stuff to be displayed. As you can see, I clicked 11 different fields. Only some of them came up, some of them did not. So I want to point this out to you guys. Fusion is still in development, so not everything works as it should. For the most part it does, but there's still a few glitches here and there. In this particular case, there's only 3 columns. I can't slide this item over here even though I have blank space. It's designed to fit only 3 different ones. But I can take some of these and move them along. The other little trick I want to point out to everybody is that you can maximize and minimize a list. So you can literally minimize all of these, spread them out however you like to see it, and then maximize them once you know what you want to use. So resources, I basically suggest that everybody has this. This is basically links, just like our bookmark page on Box, that has different websites, property appraisers, tax information, school sites, etc., etc. All of this is going to be useful information, and you have it right at your fingertips. So I would suggest that everybody use the resources. Contacts is just a quick way for you to go to a contact. Recent website activity, once we set up a search, is going to be a way for you to view who's been logging onto your website, which properties they like, which properties they don't like, their activity, without having to ask them what they like, take down the MLS or the number, and so forth. But we'll get into more detail with that in our search video. CoreLogic Market Pulse is different reports that MLS provides you that you can use in your presentation, selling points, talking topics, whatever you want. Today's hot sheets is anything that meets your criteria. You can click change my criteria to meet it here. News is just that, news relevant to real estate. Inventory watch will show you inventory in real time for yourself or your firm, so you can go ahead and check that out. Today's summary, things like messages, appointments, to-dos will display here, and prospecting will come here. This window here is going to be, your main feature that you're going to be using, and it's going to show and allow you to search by location via radius if you want to do it that way. It's going to let you search by an address or traditionally by an MLS number. If you put more than one MLS number, you need to separate them by a comma and a space. That's the basics of customizing your page. I'm not going to go into any more details. You're literally going to want to play with each of these and get yourself as familiar as possible. Again, this is something that is going to be how you're going to be making your bread and your living with real estate. So I suggest that you guys all take time to know this like the back of your hand. So let's continue. The first thing we want to do here is the contacts, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So here's some contacts that I have listed in here. Basically, a couple of different things that I want to go over with everybody. The first thing you're going to want to do when you go ahead and develop any sort of relationship, be it a renter, a seller, a buyer, whatever it is, you're going to want to add that person's information into MLS. Why? Because if you add it in your phone and it gets deleted somehow, you just lost the lead. And those are really priceless, because how successful you're going to be in real estate is going to depend on lead management and networking and building relationships, just like any other sales business. So I want to stress the importance of taking the time to fill all of this information right the first time. So something like this, of course, you're going to want to do first name, last name. These are the only 2 required fields to enter contact. However, what I would say is that all of these fields are required from a personal level, because first name and last name is though it's sufficient enough to save somebody as a contact, doesn't do anything for you. At the very least, you're going to want to have first name, you're going to want to have last name, you're going to want to have a phone number, and you're going to want to have an email. Summary. This is where I put general information as far as who it is that I met, who this person is, how I met them, anything that I want to remember about them. So, met at golf outing, for instance. Has wife, kids, etc. Basic talking points that you may want to have in case that person calls you, because when they call you, you put in their name, you pull up all this information, you'll be able to get everything. Work, home, different addresses, if you have it, great. Tracking information. Almost no one takes the time to actually put this in here, but it's important. If it's an ad you're running, you're going to want to know that that ad is working. If it's from a broker, you're going to want to put it in here. Cold calling, expired listing, whatever it is. In the beginning, this is going to do absolutely nothing for you, but at the end of the year or quarterly, when you're running reports and looking at statistics and seeing how you're doing and how you are going to be doing this next coming year and making projections, this is going to play a big role in that. Preferences, price ranges, square footage, interested in, bedrooms, MLS numbers, birthdays, anniversaries, all of this stuff is very important to have. Once you have it, it gets added to your list. Shortly after, it's going to get updated so it shows up here. It's going to take a couple of minutes. But the next basic things that I want to go with you guys. As far as bringing up a contact, you have several ways of doing it. You can go ahead and use this contact form on the front sheet and type in Alex. You're going to see my name comes up here. You're going to see that it brings it up. Here's the name of the contact that I just put in right now. Here's all of my information, which is nothing at this point. But you'll see that I'm added as a contact. You see all of the info I entered, which in this case was just my phone number. The email does not display here by default, as well as any active searches I have, any saved properties I have, any tasks I have, my website link to my personal website that you're going to set up for me, which you're going to see in a different video. Personal information is going to have the emails, notes, etc., etc., and any email history, which typically you can ignore unless you're actually having your emails come through MLS. But that's, again, for a different video. The next thing that I want to touch base with in regards to this is the options up here. Now, most of us use this on, for those of us that do use it daily and still have absolutely no idea what any of these options are. So let's take the time to go through them. The second, or the first window here, which is the second way you can pull up a contact, is by typing their name here. This works like Google, real time. As you type, it's going to narrow down the list. Now you're going to notice I have two contacts, even though I basically typed in Alex. Why? Well, one on the second contact is myself, which I put in. The second one is Lilia. Now, you don't see Alex here. Why? Well, it's a good question, and the answer is simple. That contact has her husband's name is Alex. You can't see it through here, but that is the reason that it's filtering this contact. So you see when I put in the names, it's got Alex in the email address. So my point being that when you type in something here, it searches all the fields, not necessarily just the name fields. So if somebody's spouse calls and you have their name in the contact when you're taking the time to fill out all their contact information, and you'll see it come up. So that's why it's good to take the time to do that. Little eraser here does just that, erases everything. Now, the default client grid. Now, nobody really takes the time these days to go ahead and do this, but it is very important. So you have different view styles, default one, and for instance, private one. If I go ahead and click on it, it will go ahead and switch to my private view. Private view is ones that I've created for videos, which will give me just the first name, for instance, last notification, last activity, and a summary of what they like, what they don't like, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you guys want to actually edit this, you're going to click this grid manager button. As you can see, everybody comes with this default grid. I made this private one just for the purpose of some videos, so you don't see contact information. This default client grid is what you'll start out with. You can do copy grid. It's going to make a copy of it. Here you can actually change whatever the name of the grid is. So we're going to say video demo grid. And then here are the fields that are already included. Here are the fields that are available. So if I wanted to put something, whatever it is that I want to see every day, for instance, zip code, go ahead and select it, or I can select multiple ones at the same time. You click this arrow here, it's added to the fields. Now I can format a particular field if I want to, and take it one step further. This is really advanced. You can change the width of the columns, the alignments, the masks, a lot of different things you can do. Every one of these is going to be different. So let's say first name, I can format the field, align left, middle, right, display, the width, everything. The idea is, for the most part, you're not going to need to format the fields, but if you see something that kind of bugs you, that's not aligning properly, this is how you would take care of it. But I'm going to skip that for this video because that's an advanced training. This is, basics is what we want to go over today. After you're done with all the changes, you go ahead and click save. It's going to take a second or two. Voila, there you go. Your video grid is here now. And what can I do? Well, I can set a sort order, set this particular grid as my default, meaning that's how everything's going to display. I can copy the grid, I can edit the grid, or I can delete the grid. For the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it. As you see, I selected the grid. This is the info that I have. My video demo grid is showing up in my field now. I can go ahead and save everything. Now, add contacts does just that. You can go ahead and click add contacts. It'll bring you to the add contact field, or you can go ahead and do it directly from here. Add contacts up top, because this top portion, which I'm going to refer to as your main menu, and the bottom portion I'm going to refer to as sub menu. So the main menu does not change, the sub menu does change. So that's pretty much it for this part. Sort is if you want to play with the data that is displayed. You want to sort by first name, you want to sort by last name, whatever it is. You click on the sort, you do it here. You can sort by multiple things: first name and the last person to log into the website, or 3 different things. So these are all different fields that you can use. For the most part, you're not going to need to play with that too much. Other thing you can keep in mind is you can click on the actual field itself, and as you can see, it sorts ascending or descending on that particular field once I click it. Next thing is filter. You can filter your contacts. How? Buyer, seller, client, prospect, agent, appraiser, attorney, broker, etc., etc., etc. You have a very vast list of different contacts. If you're going to be using this system, I suggest everything related to real estate, be it vendors, be it other agents, people that you're going to work with more than once, or your customers. You put all their information in here, you label it properly, that's why you have it for life. Next thing, print. If you want to print, there's your print button, and then you have a tool. You can either email selected, you can upload, bulk upload, delete selected, and these are your basic import and export features if you want to import or export contacts from Excel, Outlook, wherever it is that you're doing. I'm going to have a separate video on that. I'm not going to touch base with it. So for this video, that kind of gives you the general idea of how to actually create a contact and the basics in the contact management, or contact manager as they call it. So again, you can either go to home, look up a contact from here. You can go to contacts, go to contact manager, and you can look them up this way. As soon as you highlight one, this little panel on the right hand side that displays all the information for that particular contact is called the detail panel. So you can click on this, it'll turn off. You can click on it one more time, it'll turn on. As you see, nothing is displayed until you actually select the contact. When I select the contact, that contact's info comes up. In this particular case, you see that this person has 1 search, 38 results, 4 new properties. He's rejected 1 property, and he has a contact website, which we're going to talk about in a different video. You have the basics as far as search settings. If I wanted to see the results, I'll click here. If I want to change the, if I want to see how the search is working in terms of how many days he's got left, if it's a contact search or email report, the frequency, the emails, the agent notifications, etc., you would edit it from there. Criteria is the criteria for the search. If I click this, I can go ahead and bring up the same search he's running right now without having to recreate it. Any point in time, I can click his name to go back to the contact manager, or I can click view contact website either from this button or from this button here. Now, for all of you, I'm going to suggest use a contact website. So it has to be turned on in order for it to be working. You can use this link here, and what it's going to do is go ahead and open that person's contact website. You'll see all of the links that they're seeing etc., etc. Not going to go into it in too much detail. This should be sufficient for you guys for understanding how to add a contact into the system. If you have any questions, comments, please write it below. If you want any further explanation on something I may have missed, please let me know and I'll do another video.